All right, there we go. So hello, everyone. We are live. This is Jacqui Bowman, and I'm here with Christ Matan, and I'm really excited to interview Chris today. He is a guy that I feel like can just do it all. He's running two businesses. He had restrictions with that he had overcome. He's now at EXP, and it's just a platform that's kind of helped him escalate both of his businesses. He's going to talk a little bit about that and maybe give you some secrets. I mean, if you're someone that has a full-time job and you're also in real estate, Chris does it just, it seems like it seamlessly, right? That he does everything, but I'm sure he's going to tell us probably some of his challenges and how he's overcome that. So thanks everyone for joining us today. And Chris, I'm going to start off with just having you tell agents in the industry, either industry, anything that you would want them to know about you, just to kind of get us started.
Yeah, well, just kind of real quick, and thank you for having this with me. This is very, very cool, and this is like exactly what kind of inspired me a little over a year ago to start my channel and to kind of almost tell my story. And that's kind of evolved a little bit over time. But essentially, I am, yes, we've got a family business here in Cleveland, Ohio, that is a machine shop that I'm a part of. I'm basically running the day-to-day on, and it's an industry that was new to me 9 years ago when I moved here. Real estate, on the other hand, is something that I've been doing. I'm licensed 27 years. So that was kind of my trade. So the idea to come into the shop here was, more on the sales side and on the business side. But, I kind of found myself, in the middle of the shop and all this kind of stuff. So, and it's, the machine shop and manufacturing atmosphere it's challenging. There's a lot of challenges with it, and it's not always the most inspiring industry to be in. Everything is fast, everything is late, everything is wrong, everything is it's terrible. So, but on the other hand, when you deal with the real estate industry and when you're in sales in particular, there are a lot of resources for motivation and inspiration, and your circle of people is a lot different in that industry than in the manufacturing industry when you're dealing with employees and stuff like that. So my thought was that if I could take the inspiration that I get from real estate and bring it over to the shop and maybe inspire the guys and inspire my customers and inspire my vendors, it would lift my spirits up. And then, altogether, when you feel good, you act good and you work hard and, everything is good, right? When you're, it's all about how you feel and your mindset. So that was a big deal. And also not hiding from either industry. I was afraid. I didn't want my machining people or my customers to know that I sold real estate. I didn't want my real estate customers or clients to know that I had this full-time thing going over here. How am I gonna service them, right? And the reality of it is that Cleveland is like a manufacturing mecca here, right? Everybody's knows a machinist or a machine shop, or my uncle's a machinist, whatever the case is. So that you're always 6 degrees of separation from machining here in Cleveland. So it's always a talking point. And real estate, I don't care where you are on the planet, you're always talking about real estate. Everybody's interested in that. So to blend those two industries together and to just kind of open myself up really opened up a lot of doors. And, the universe just started speaking. And I listened, I took it. And, last year, arguably, we had our best year at the shop in several. And, with EXP, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. The idea of being able to run and operate my real estate business from my shop without feeling that obligation to be tethered to a specific location or an office or a community within the office, that was my biggest challenge doing business here. When I was with another brokerage, you've got brick and mortar, you've got an address, it takes time to get there. And in order to connect with that office and the people within the office, you have to be there, you have to be present.
Right.
I had a hard time to be present. I really did. And it's no knock on that company at all. It was just the way that my lifestyle was. And, the fact that when I joined EXP and we were doing these Zoom meetings, which I never heard of Zoom meeting before EXP. And this was before Corona too. So we were kind of ahead of the game as far as all this Zoom fatigue and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I had Zoom fatigue for 4 years. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So that was a fascinating thing. I was able to sit every Tuesday at 9:30 with you and Dave and a bunch of us, EXP guys and people, and kind of have our meeting. And I was at the comfort of my own desk right here. It was amazing. I didn't have to get ready for it. I didn't have to arrange anything. I just walk upstairs to my office from the shop and I'm done.
Yeah.
So, and then, you got the world that we're dealing with also, the EXP world, where, I mean, everything has just been so seamless and I've become exponentially more efficient in both businesses because I'm present here at the shop and I'm present in my real estate business.
I love it. Yeah. And you know what? There's two things. I'm going to hold you on for 1 second that I really want to point out in case people didn't catch. And I think we're really blessed with in this industry. And what he said at the beginning was how inspirational and how many resources there are in the real estate industry for agents to come to be inspired. And I always, just the call I just had with John, there's a difference between inspiration and motivation. That motivation comes from within, but just the fact that Chris intentionally surrounds himself with people who inspire him to go and inspire others in his machine shop and bring that inspiration through him to other people. And it's exactly what you said. It's that energy, right? And so I just think that what a gift that we have in this real estate industry that many don't realize that other industries don't have. They don't have those resources. So I just think it's awesome that we have that here in real estate, but also what a gift to all of the people that are in your machine shop. I mean, that's pretty cool. I love that.
Yeah, it's been great. It makes you kind of happy or excited or interested to wake up in the morning and come here.
And it's all about energy, right? If you're giving off good energy and you're soaking up good energy from other people, your employees are going to have good energy. They're going to have better attitudes. It's going to be, best. And the other thing, there's so many agents I've talked to over the past, 15, 16 years that it's like, well, I have a full-time job. And so I can't go all in on real estate. And I don't want my, coworkers to think I'm just selling to them. And they fight with themselves over these two different roles. And what I love is that you don't just have a full-time job, you're running a company, right? And you're doing both. So anything else you want to share about that for maybe someone who's struggling with having those two different roles, maybe?
Listen, I mean, it's not always easy. And, I wear a lot of hats at this shop, but at the same point, because I'm kind of, in charge, right? Mm-hmm. I have the freedom to make the decision. Do I want to go here? Do I want to go there? So there is that flexibility that when you kind of run your own show, you can make those decisions. And sometimes you can do it and sometimes you can't, but you have that ability to make the decision. If you have a full-time 9-to-5 job where you are punching somebody's clock, that's a lot different. That being said, the way that the real estate industry is going, how mobile it's become, and how tech driven that it's become, right. I think that there are ways that you can probably create a business for yourself in real estate while you're doing your full-time job that would work for you. And the goal, if you're doing that, chances are the goal is you want that real estate business to exceed what you're doing in your
9-to-5, right?
The 9-to-5, so that you can be full time in real estate. And people are doing it; they're doing it all the time. So
it's that connectivity, right? It's you look at just the evolution of how we're all connecting, whether it's through social media or text message, or you just look 5 years ago or 10 years ago, how we were connecting back then and how we're connecting now. And it's exactly what you said, with no brick and mortar, you're more connected and plugged into the resources and things that you need to grow both businesses like you've never had, right?
And when you need them.
Right.
How many times are you at an office and you got a training between 9 and 11 or something like that? And, you plan all week to go and then you go and there's one person there or two people, or the trainer had something else going on and he or she can't make it. So you really have a lot more control over your life and over your business and your day. You have more control over your day on
Mhm.
a platform like this.
Well, another thing that you said was that you've been in the business for 27 years. So you've got me beat by 10 years, you know. But you were also a broker back in Illinois for a long time. And just, you know, being in the industry and being your own broker and now being here and being at EXP, I mean, I'm sure things are totally different time-wise, but anything else you want to share with them about the platform that you know, obviously you could be your own broker, you could go do your own thing. Why? I mean,
Well, I think that EXP is really an ideal situation for independent brokers. You know, the model back in the 90s and, you know, early 2000s is, and this is what I followed was, you know, you get to a certain level of production, and this was even before teams and stuff like that. There really wasn't teams back then.
right.
You get to a certain level of production or comfort in your production, and, you know, you want to see your name on the door. And that's exactly what I did. I put my name on the door, Matan Enterprises. I opened up my own little brokerage. I was a solo shop. You know, every once in a while I'll have an agent, you know, that works for me for a little bit, but that was never really my thing. I just kind of did my own deals, and I was very satisfied with it. But what I know now compared to what I knew then is that when I was solo and by myself, I was solo and by myself. I didn't plug into anything really in the industry, training, certifications, any of that kind of stuff. I just figured, you know, I don't need it. I don't care. I don't want it. Where now, obviously, with internet and online and you know, where technology has gone, you know, I feel like I almost lost like 10 years, 10, 15 years in the business of the trajectory of how the business has changed
Right.
with online leads and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the point is that when you are an independent broker, you've got liability, you've got administrative crap that you don't want to do.
Right.
You know, you leave the comfort of your broker as a producing agent because you're a producing agent. Now all of a sudden you got to do this administrative stuff or hire somebody. You got to deal with the state. You got to deal with escrow accounts and audits and all this stuff. And it's no fun. And all of a sudden you spend your time dealing with that. And, you know, what you call the insurance, errors and omissions insurance. You don't even know what you're paying for errors and omissions insurance. I was paying, you know, $2,500 for, you know, my 20 years ago.
Right. Right.
It was, you know, if I could go back, or if I was an independent broker right now, and now I have no desire, actually.
Right.
No desire to become an independent broker. I think that EXP, you know, gives the independent broker or that kind of that entrepreneurial person the vehicle to do their business how they want to do their business without having to deal with a lot of that back end stuff.
Right.
You know, like an owner. I mean, yeah, EXP is an agent-owned company. I feel like an owner.
Right. And so, and kind of just going back to that connectivity, you know, and we're going to touch on the ownership piece too, but going back to that connectivity, I mean, you and I were at the same company for years and we didn't really know each other. And you mentioned something to me earlier about, you know, just all of us being under the same flag and collaborating instead of having all these different separate offices. It's just a totally different, you know, environment.
Completely.
And of course, now you mentioned a little bit about ownership. I mean, how long have you been at EXP and what does that kind of look like for you?
I joined in September of 2019. So where am I, you know, 16, 17 months, something
Right.
like that. Yeah. And I had, I was with Keller Williams for 5 years. I got licensed in Ohio in 2013 and was basically with Keller Williams for 5 years. And I was looking for a change. And this is important, I think, that, you know, people don't always change because they want to leave where they're at because something is going on there. It's not good. They want to change because there might be something different out there.
Right.
And that's what I needed. I needed something different. I needed something that, and I didn't know what that was, really. I needed something that would help me support my shop or being able to support my shop and still do my real estate business. And, you know, so coming across to EXP, I actually stopped at Remax for about 4 months, to be honest. When I saw, EXP in like January. And then in April, I went to Remax for, whatever reason. But I decided, I'm sitting at open houses at my, with the Remax sign outside watching EXP videos. So I had EXP in my head. I mean, I knew.
Right.
Right away. I was one of those guys that kind of saw it and knew.
Yeah.
And, I just took a detour. But once I joined and kind of plugged myself in, yeah, I'm all in.
Well, and I think when agents see themselves as the business owner of Jacqui Bowman Real Estate or Christ Matan Real Estate, and they disconnect from, I love my broker, I'm comfortable in my office, everything is great and I'm happy, I don't need a change. You might not need a change.
Right.
However, when you see the model and you look at it from a business owner perspective, it's an absolute no-brainer. And I think that's a reason why a lot of agents are afraid to look at it. Because, oh my gosh, if I look at it, I don't want to leave. I don't want to say goodbye to my friends or whatever, right? And so I think there's a lot of resistance just for that simple fact that, they know it's something. So that's awesome.
Change is hard. I don't care what you're doing. Change is hard. And, when you're comfortable, you're comfortable. And, the thing that people, I think, really, it would be nice if they can realize and kind of get out of their own way a little bit, is that if you wanted to explore brokerages, right, and look at different brokerages, different offices, whatever the case is, you're going to ask the same questions. It's all going to be the same. What's my split? Who's my broker? Where do I park my car? All that shit. Pardon my language.
No, sorry.
Looking at EXP is you got to look at it from a little bit of through a different lens, I think. And once you do, you'll get it, you'll appreciate it, and you'll make that move. Or you'll get it and appreciate it, and you won't make that move.
Right.
One way or another. But because it's not for everybody. There's a lid for every pot. I say that all the time.
Oh, yes.
It's true. So it's not for everybody, but it's worth it. Everybody should look at it at the very least. I mean,
get the information and get it not from your current broker. Right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, Chris, anything that you want to wrap up and give us as just a little nugget as we end this interview, and anything you want anyone to know just in closing?
I don't know. I mean, listen, I once again, I do appreciate you bringing me on here. This is very, very cool. And, you've been, kind of going back to, I want to go back a little bit to what you were talking about, us two being part of the same brokerage and not knowing each other, because that is the truth. And, I'm meeting and collaborating and connecting with people all over the country with EXP, and I feel like I know them. Where here you and I were under the same flag, 20 miles away at a different market center, and I never even heard of you.
Right.
And, it just like, I don't see that same collaboration because there's competition there's more competition within other companies and other brokerages than I believe that there are with EXP. I think that we're all kind of
different. It's just a different platform because we're all one company or one brokerage. We're not a franchise. And that may seem like a little detail, but it really does change everything.
It does. And, adding on to that, one of the, there's a lot of benefits that I found with EXP after I joined. There were certain things that I didn't count on. I didn't consider. Collaboration was not on my radar.
Right.
Or when I joined EXP, that was nothing. However, I'm licensed in Illinois. I've been licensed in Illinois for 27 years. And the fact that I can practice in both states under one company, one brokerage, one leadership team. Essentially, we've got state brokers, but one leadership, one cap, one fee. It's a big deal. Anybody that's licensed in 2 states should definitely be looking at this model. There's no question.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I love it. Yeah. I love it. Awesome. Well, if anyone listening today wants to connect with Chris and talk about running 2 businesses, running another business along with real estate, or if you just want to have an open-ended conversation or discovery with Chris about EXP, how would you want them to contact you?
You can message me on Facebook if you want. Just my regular name, Christ Matan. You can call me or text me, 312-493-8171. Those are probably the two best ways. And yeah, I look forward to talking to anybody. I know I really enjoy, being in the manufacturing space in Cleveland has really opened up my scope of interest and knowledge altogether. And coupling that with real estate, I've got a lot to talk about. So
that's awesome. Well, I very appreciate you stopping in today and going on this live with me and just letting the world know how great you are. So thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Jackie. Thanks, everybody.